This year, I've started investing more time into my hobbies. In the past, it was hard for me to even finish one book per month. 6 months into this year, I've read more than 30 books. Let's talk about all the books I've read so far and answer some of the book tag questions. I'm really excited. I've only given a few books 5 stars, so it's really hard to pick one book, but I haven't really seen many people talking about this book. It's Welcome to the Hyunam-dong bookstore. Hope I pronounced it right. The story follows this woman, Yeonju, who opened a bookstore after feeling burnt out in both her career and personal life. One of my dreams is to open a bookstore and a cafe. That's what intrigued me to read it in the first place. It's a very cozy read. It makes you to find the beauty of the mundane. While navigating the difficulty of attracting new customers, she encountered some interesting people. There are parts of the book that made me tear up because I related to some of their experiences of feeling lost in their 20s or 30s and not living up to family expectations. Especially the main point of view is from a woman. You really see the struggle of being a woman in Korea. It's definitely one of these books that make you contemplate, and you really need to let these ideas to sink in. I highly recommend this book if you haven't read it. I am a big mystery reader. These books always get me out of reading slump, hence The Housemaid. I read it at the beginning of this year. I absolutely loved it. It's definitely a page turner. I read it in one setting. There are a lot of plot twists. You can probably tell from the title. It's about a housemaid who started working for this family and then discovered some dark secrets. And then I read the second one, The Housemaid's Secrets. It's very similar to the first one in a sense that it keeps you entertained throughout the book because you want to know what's going on in the family. However, I wouldn't say it's better than the first one. I kind of anticipated a lot of things that would happen in the book, so it wasn't really a surprise to me, except the ending. The ending was really, really good. I didn't see it coming. This kind of ties to the next question. New releases that I haven't read but I want to. The Housemaid's Watching. I know that it just came out, so I'm really excited to read it. I just saw this book the other day in the bookstore, but I'm trying to buy less books, so I didn't pick it up, but it's definitely one of the books that I want to read. In this one, I think Millie has her own family now and just moved into a new house. There is something going on with her neighbor, and now that she's not working for anyone, I think it will be from a different perspective. So hopefully I'll read this one really, really soon. Another new release that I'm excited about is by this author, Holly Jackson. I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder this year. I just discovered this author, so I want to read more of her books. It's called The Reappearance of Rachel Price. I saw a lot of people talking about it, so it's definitely on my TBR. This might be controversial. I know this book has been popular for a long time on both BookTube or Book Talk. It's Powerless. There are mixed reviews on this book, but I actually had a lot of fun reading it. I've never read any fantasy books before this year, so I don't have any comments on world building or anything like that. The biggest reason why I like this book is because there's no smut. I feel like sometimes romantasy books focus too much on the spice and not so much on the stories, so I can't really see where the story is going. I also enjoyed the trials in this book, even though it's a bit of a stretch that a lot of people compare it to Hunger Games. I don't know about that, but I still give this book a 4-star. So my most anticipated release this year is Reckless, which I think will be out very soon this summer. I really want to know what's gonna happen next. So yeah, this is very interesting. My biggest surprise this year is that one particular book basically introduced me into the fantasy world, and now I can never go back. It's Fourth Wing. Initially, I just want to know what's the hype about, and then I fell in love. I completely fell in love with this book. I remember I couldn't put it down because how good it is. I love dragons and I love trials. I think they count as trials. You have to go through trainings and a series of tests to become a writer. I also love the romance. Enemies to lovers is now officially my favorite trope. Love the ending. It was epic. It made me want to run to the bookstore to get the next one. But here's the plot twist. Because I loved it so much, I read Iron Flame. Don't hate me on this, but it was such a big disappointment for me. I feel like the first book was so good that it built up a lot of expectation. One thing that really bothered me is their love relationship. It's so toxic and it just doesn't make sense to me. They would always hide something from each other and they fight a lot. I also think there's not enough action except the very last part of the book. I guess I wanted to see more interactions with the dragons, but they're mainly used as transportation and a little bit of fighting, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm asking too much. I really want to love this book, but I just can't. I'm sorry. It takes me maybe 3 books to really love an author. So far, I don't think I have a new favorite one, but I read another of her book, which made me love her more. It's Taylor Jenkins Reid. She is absolutely my favorite. A lot of people know her because of Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I have it back there. So yeah. I read this last year, but my favorite book of hers is Malibu Rising. I don't think a lot of people talk about that book. I feel like it's so underrated. I don't remember the details, but she's so good at writing about the dynamics in a family. You really see how each character has different personality, has their like unique characteristics. So last month I read Carrie Soto's Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It's very inspiring to see a female character who may seem unlikable to a lot of people, but you also see the strength of being a tennis player. As a people pleaser, sometimes I just want to be like her. Like, she's my role model. She doesn't care about what other people think. She's so fixated on her goals, and I want to be like that. That's so cool. If I have to pick, he will be Roman Kidd in Divine Rivals. I fall for his talent. I don't know about you guys. I personally love writing letters or birthday cards. I feel like it's my love language. I screamed when I got to the part when Iris find out that he's the person she's been writing to. The love letter, so beautiful. I don't even know how to describe the writing in this book. It's dreamy, mesmerizing. I don't think anyone would disagree with me on this one. This book, When Breath Becomes Air, made me so emotional. Death is always a heavy topic. I don't often think about it, so I'm glad that I picked this up. First of all, I love all of the literature and books that were mentioned in this book. I even use tabs to mark them because I want to read them in the future. I can't imagine being this person who used to have control on everything, but suddenly you had to depend on others. While reading this book, it's like he's taking you on a journey and going through hardships together. This is one of the books that I wish I would have read sooner. I'm the type of person who always look for a happy ending because it's rare in real life. That's why most of the time I try to avoid reading sad books. The Wishing Game, on the other hand, it's like a fairy tale for adults. Everyone in this book gets a happy ending. I like the riddles, games, story time in this book. I was rooting for Lucy, who is this teaching assistant and wanted to adopt this kid in her class who just lost his parents. She wanted to win a prize so she could afford a life with this kid. It somehow reminded me of the times when I was little and wished for things. When you grow older, you kind of lost that part in you. It's heartwarming and reminiscent. Currently, I have two physical books that I haven't read. Both of them are all very thick, which is probably the reason why I haven't started yet. A Day of Fallen Nights. I enjoy reading The Priory of the Orange Tree. It's also a book that revolves around dragons. I actually don't know too much about this book, but I already have a feeling that I will love this. And then another book I plan to read is the Nightingale. I believe this is a historical fiction book, which is something that I'm hesitant to read. I don't know if I'll have patience for this, but one of my reading goals this year is to read different genres. So I really want to try. We shall see. That concludes some of the books I read so far. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.